On Travis Gafford's video last week, he spoke about a rumor, and I want to be very clear right up front that this is a rumor. This is not a news report. This is not, I have well validated sources or anything. This is something that kind of came through the grapevine, and could change or could shift. But there was a rumor that Nisqy would not be starting for Cloud9, and potentially would, if he's not going to be starting, then there's always the potential that he could get moved on to another org, and bought out, similar to the situation Licorice is now in. This is a very surprising and very interesting rumor to me. I actually, going back to the summer split, I voted Nisqy second team All Pro for mid lane. I think he's got, a really, really good stylistic fit with Blabber, and those two players were in a lot of ways kind of the core of Cloud9 in this past year. I don't really see any clear impetus for replacing Nisqy or for a need to try to upgrade on him. I think, he's kind of the perfect mid for Blabber, in the sense that Blabber, is the jungler who wants to get a lot of resources put into him. He wants to have the mid laner kind of leaning out of lane and backing him up as he goes for invades. He wants to be making sure his lanes have priority so he can always be supported. He wants to have champion matchups that are going to allow him to put pressure on early in the game, and then also kind of be more influential and be able to use the gold he gets. So rather than being something that can go with low gold and still be useful at any point in the game, he wants to be the one who receives a lot of gold and uses that and kind of carries the game and is kind of up front and center. And Nisqy is the mid laner who, he's one of those kind of, I'm not sure if it's fair to call it a new school mid laner, but one of this class of mid laners who is very kind of self-sacrificial, play for the team. I'm gonna give up a minion wave to make sure that we can make a play on the side lane, or that we can get an invade, we can play some vision that'll pay off later, all these kinds of things. Demonte is another player in that school. I think you could say that Doinby was kind of the epitome of that play style. And so, there are so many reasons that I think that keeping Nisqy on Cloud9 really makes a lot of sense. And I also don't really agree with the idea that Nisqy is, weaker in this core skill set than a lot of the other mids in LCS, or that he didn't have a good split in the summer. I think when you look at Cloud9 falling apart in the summer, I don't think you put that really on any one player. And I didn't personally really see a big drop off for Nisqy. I saw him actually working very hard in a lot of those late season games and in playoffs to do what he needed to do to make the team work. And I actually saw more problems from say Blabber not being able to handle the level 1 invade against FlyQuest, and that was not on Nisqy. But if Blabber gets shut down, then Nisqy's job of enabling Blabber, well, enabling somebody who's so far behind is very, very, very difficult. And so I think there were a lot of situations where Nisqy ended up looking worse to me than he actually was playing, and I didn't really have many issues with the level Nisqy was playing at. So, you have to think that if this is the case, and if this is what Cloud9 is looking at, first of all, I want to say that I have a fair amount of trust in Cloud9 management, and Jack always tweets every offseason, "Oh, I lost the offseason again," and they come out and they're very successful and they do well, and it turns out that his calls were pretty right. So, I want to give a lot of the benefit of the doubt on that, while also saying that I don't understand this move. I'm not really sure how you can upgrade on Nisqy with what's available. I don't know that you can get somebody who has a better fit stylistically, who plays that same role as Nisqy, but in a better way. I'm not necessarily of the mind that getting a more straightforward, straight-up player like a Jensen-style player who kind of less self-sacrificial, more selfish, more team fight-oriented, all these kinds of things, I'm not sure that that's necessarily an improvement for Cloud9. Maybe it is. If you just straight-up swapped Nisqy and Jensen in, maybe that's better for Cloud9. That's very unlikely to happen, though. And I'm not even sure that those players really exist to be acquired right now. I'm not really sure what your list of get this player, it's better than Nisqy would look like. The natural place to look is Palafox coming up from Academy. That's an interesting option. I think it's very far from guaranteed that he would be better than Nisqy even by the end of summer. I think there's, a lot of knowledge within that organization, with Reignover coming up as the head coach, and working with Palafox all year. He's going to have a better read on that potential than I do. I have watched Palafox all year, and I think, he did definitely improve a lot by the end of summer, and in the playoff run, that was the best he's played. But but I'm really pretty far from being convinced that there's like a better than 50% chance that Palafox would be better for this team than Nisqy by 1 year from now. And yeah, I just don't really see an upgrade option from free agency. So you have to think that there's maybe something behind the scenes. Maybe there was some fallout from the Fudge promotion and putting Licorice on the block. Maybe Nisqy decided, hey, this isn't really where I want to be anymore. There are all kinds of reasons that Reignover may have a really big part of this. Like I said, maybe he just understands Palafox and is really pushing for him into the role and says, this is really important to me. And maybe they said, these two are going to compete for the role. And Nisqy said, I'd rather not. There are all these other things. And based on my read of Nisqy as a player and what Cloud9 are as a team and what they want as a team, I have to think that there's something under the surface that we can't see that is pushing for this move. Because on the surface, I don't get it. The only way I can really kind of justify this move is, hey, trust Jack, trust Reignover, because I couldn't explain to you what they're thinking. To me, Nisqy is a great mid laner for the LCS. I think he's a great mid laner for Cloud9. And, Cloud9, if you're going to make this move, you better prove to us that it was the right call, because I don't see it.